Well, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing tonight on Below Deck Mediterranean. We are going to talk about Season 6, Episode 12 already. How are we already here? Let's chat about it, guys.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Okay, I have to admit that I did not get to pick this song. It was actually our engineer that chose this one, but I think it's pretty perfect. How do you feel about it, Jamie?
It's perfect.
I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Hi, guys. What's up? My name is Laura L. Thomas. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Laura L. Thomas TV, and I have a lovely co-host joining me tonight. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Banks, and you can find me at JamieBanks_ and also on YouTube at Jamie Banks Travel.
That's right. So, guys, let's just jump right into it. Below Deck Mediterranean tonight. We are nearing the end of this this journey on this yacht, and we're finally having some things kind of come full circle. Starting with the drama that happened last week with Adam and Wes. They're out and about. The whole thing with Malia comes to a head. Adam pulls a little prank on Wes that he thinks is funny. Wes does not think it's funny, and the whole thing blows up.
It was pretty aggressive between the two of them. I honestly thought they were going to get into a fist fight.
Oh my gosh. Well, I did too. And that was kind of what the previews last week alluded to, is that there was going to be a little bit more of a fist fight. Really, all we saw was Wes kind of knock the phone out of Adam's hand, but still, that's pretty aggressive as far as, for Wes, for sure.
He looked like he was definitely irritated. He kept his composure, but you could tell it really got under his skin.
Oh, for sure. So, how do you feel about that, though? Do you feel like the wedgie was all in good fun, or do you feel like it was maybe pushing the line a little
I think
bit?
it was pushing the line, but I think it was just kind of it was going to blow up anyway, and so it was just culminated in this moment.
It did. And it blew up in a big way. So there's just this whole thing happens with, obviously, Malia. Malia is the one that's brought a lot of this controversy on herself. I was actually really impressed seeing Max step up to the plate and call her out.
Yes.
So Max actually just calls Malia out and just says, look, you played him. This is the reason why this is happening is because of you. I thought that was really impressive. How did you feel about it?
I thought it was great, and I 100% agree with everything he said. She got very defensive, though, and I understand why, because she wanted to defend herself, but she was so angry about it. It was kind of like, well, obviously this is what's happening, so why are you getting so mad?
Right. The problem that I think Malia has is that she and we'll see her get into it a little bit with Bobby at the end as well, which we're going to talk about, but she reacts so emotionally to everything, and she makes herself look even more immature than I think she may be by constantly going to the emotion of things first. A good leader is somebody who is able to be logical first and emotional perhaps next or second. And I do think that you have to take all of those things into consideration, but at this point, she just seems to kind of keep sticking her foot in her mouth by reacting too emotionally.
Yeah, it's interesting because when she reacts in public, it's always kind of angry and defensive and yelling, but then we saw in the confessional her actually tear up. And so I kind of almost wish she'd be more vulnerable to them, because I think attacking them, it just doesn't really help the situation, because it's like it doesn't help at all. So why can't she just be honest, or maybe just not take it so harshly?
I wonder, though, this is what I wonder about Malia. Do you think that this is just a piece of her personality that there may... She seems, I kind of want to use the word scrappy, but I don't feel like she's a scrappy person. What I'm meaning is, like, she feels like she's got this tough exterior, that she puts these walls up, that she doesn't really want to let anybody know that anything gets to her. But once you start to see those cracks happen, it's like this dam that just overflows that she can't control. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. And I think growing up with so many brothers, she probably kind of learned that from them, because sometimes guys don't show their emotions as much as females do sometimes. Yeah. So I think that's kind of why. And then also she probably was the center of attention with them, because I don't know, but with her parents, she was the only girl, so I think maybe that's kind of how she gets some of her personality.
Yeah, well, it seems to be, for sure, and it makes a lot of sense, especially growing up with all boys. I can only imagine. Guys, I want to remind you, too, that we're in the live chat tonight, so if you've got any questions that you want to hop in and ask, please join us on the live chat. Jamie's manning that for us right now. So ask questions, make comments, let us know what you think. The other thing that I saw that happened tonight early on was Adam and Hannah kissed and made up. Well, they kissed later, but they had a little heart-to-heart and a nice sort of bonding moment. How did you feel about their come together?
I loved it. It's kind of like what Hannah was telling us when we interviewed her. I think once she understood kind of why he was so mad and the background with the Malia situation, it makes her definitely understand him more, and then they could connect on that level, because I think she thought he was just doing bad in the kitchen, but now she realizes all these emotional issues, and so I think she understands him a lot better.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see their friendship. It was nice to see them sort of put the things, their differences aside, because I don't really think that they have a lot of differences. I think that Adam was hurt by the whole situation, and he didn't know where to place his anger or his frustration, and so I think he kind of took it out on Hannah because she happened to be an easy target for him, and she's not going to be somebody who's going to take that, so it made them kind of be like that combative oil and water kind of relationships.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. And he couldn't really vent to anyone because he didn't want to tell people that he knew Malia before. Right. So I think he had all this frustration built up inside him, but he wasn't telling anyone about it. So I think it just, he came off really rude, but I think he just was very angry and upset.
Yeah, understandably so. I mean, I have you ever had your heart broken?
No, not really, no.
Oh, you're so lucky.
No, I mean, it's been a little sad, but not completely broken.
Okay, well, speaking as someone who, even though I've been married for a long time, I clearly have had my heart broken in the past, and that's not an easy thing to deal with. I mean, it really, really hurts when it hurts, and it is all consuming at times. I mean, as new as their relationship seemed to be, and as young as the relationship, he even said tonight, you know, before I came on this yacht, there was nothing that I wanted more than I wanted Malia, and that really hurts. And so to have to deal with that heartbreak and also continue to work with that person and be in such tight quarters, and then also on top of that see them go after another person, no wonder Adam was kind of being a little screw loose, because he was so, it was like he was this emotional ball of energy, and he didn't know where to put anything.
Yeah, that's so true. And I'm sure he had expectations that they would get together and it would be so fun in Croatia. So I think he was crushed. And then you're right, to see her with Wes on top of it, that's even more crushing.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about it too. I mean, if you have the expectation that you're going into this job that already you're so excited about, I'm going to get on this boat, it's going to be an opportunity of a lifetime, and I just met this awesome girl that I have this great connection with, and we're going to get to go work together. He probably built this boat, this yacht, this job, this season up in his mind so much that the fall made it that much harder. So I felt a lot for Adam in this episode. I also really thought it was really big of him to go to Wes later and apologize for the prank that he pulled. He pulls Wes aside and he says, "Look, man, I didn't know where to put my anger. I didn't know what to do. I took it out on you. I am sorry." And Wes was not as receiving of it as I thought he would.
I thought it was a very genuine apology, and I think that I really appreciated that he did that. And so I get Wes might still be kind of upset about the situation, but I think he should have understood, you know what, it was a genuine apology, so just take it. And then also to go tell Malia about it. The way he told Malia, it was a little bit kind of like he didn't really care. You know, he was making it seem like it wasn't a genuine apology.
I got really frustrated with Wes in this instance, because I really thought, I think a lot of Wes. I really like Wes as a person. I think how he's handled his situation in the very beginning. You know, things have gotten a little messy now with the whole Malia thing, but I really liked him, and I was really rooting for him in the beginning. So to see him react so I don't know, just to be so distant and so unreceiving of Adam's apology, which I also felt was very sincere. I just thought it was not in good taste. I was kind of upset by it.
I think he's so in love with Malia that he's kind of not seeing the bigger picture, and he doesn't know about the Malia's previous relationship with Adam. He doesn't know about the text. So there's a lot that he doesn't know. So I think he just thinks Adam is the villain, and he doesn't see that Malia is doing anything wrong.
Right. And we'll get to that a little bit later, too, because apparently next week we're going to see Wes get a little dose of his own medicine. So that... Yeah, it was the first time that I had seen Wes in a not so great light in this episode, and I kind of just want to shake him and be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But I know he's blind. He's got his blinders on. Blinded by love. I get it. I've been there, done that. So moving on, let's talk about the charter guests. This new couple from I keep wanting to say Dallas. I don't know that they're from Dallas, but they are from Texas. Come on for a one-day charter. Hannah famously says, "How hard could it be? It's a one-day charter," and of course, we see that it is very difficult.
Yeah, did you see all of their clothes and jewelry? I could tell that they were pretty wealthy.
I was like, well, not only that, but I wrote down at one point, I was like, how much does one person need for a one-day charter?
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
They kept pulling things out of their suitcase and hanging stuff up, and I was like, where are they going? Like, why do they have all of these clothes for a one-day charter? But I don't know. Maybe they did ask Hannah.
Yeah, they want to do a little traveling after. So.
Exactly. So perhaps they were coming prepared to go on to their next adventure. I thought the pajamas needing steamed was special.
Yeah, that was a little much, but to each their own. They do pay a lot of money to go on this boat. So
do you steam your pajamas?
No, I've never. I don't even know what steaming is.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? You don't know what a steam is?
Is it like ironing?
Well, yeah, it's like ironing, but it's less of like the pressing and more. There's different versions of it, but mostly I have a little travel steamer that I carry around with me occasionally when I travel, and it's just like a little. You put a little bit of water in it, and it starts to steam, and you just basically just run it over your clothes, and it gets all the wrinkles out.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it gets all the wrinkles out. So I'm classically guilty of throwing it in the dryer with a wet rag and just being like, all right, that'll do. We're good. So I've never steamed my pajamas. But, hey, there's a first time for anything, right? I haven't tried it. The one charter guest that really bothered me
Muscle
Man Brian. What a meathead.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a little bit rude of him to say, well, this is the best spot, because he didn't even know the place. I'm sure the captain knows it much better than he does. And also, they have things like the wind and safety precautions to take into consideration. So you can't just say, oh, this is where we want to go.
I was so flabbergasted that he just charged down to the galley or wherever they were down, where Bugs was down there, and just was like, we've got to get her to stop. I don't know why she's not stopping. These are all the best stops. And she's just like, I promise you she knows what she's doing. Like, don't question Captain Sandy. I mean, if I've learned anything this charter season, it's don't question Captain Sandy. She is on her stuff. So I thought that was super rude, but hopefully I will say in that moment, I did write down, I said, Bugs' patience is extraordinary. She handled that situation very well. And then she let us know it in the confessional later, but in the moment, she is very professional, I will say. One of the things that I do love about Bugs is that when she is on a charter, she is there to work. And she keeps her I's dotted, her T's crossed. She is like on the straight and narrow. All of the I don't know, euphemism or metaphors or whatever I can come up with, but she really, really is super professional. Now, we saw her get a little catty with Lauren later when they were out that night, but I do think in the moment she does know how to maintain her professional.
Yeah, I think when she's on the boat, she's definitely very professional. When off the boat, she does kind of talk about the gossip a little bit, which is fine, but on the boat when she's working, she's very good. And
her and Lauren were working their booties off this charter, it looked like.
Yeah, and I see, they're thinking that she's not very hardworking, but I don't think that's the case. I think Hannah was just thank you. I think Hannah was just so preoccupied with helping the kind of bossy clients that she just wanted to delegate. So
and that's her job as chief stew, I think. I mean, her job is to delegate so that she can be there for the clients. I almost feel like, here's the thing, I feel like if you are put in a leadership position, oftentimes the work that you do is not the manual labor kind of stuff. It's more of the relationship, whether it's like a manager of a restaurant or the captain of a boat or chief stew or any other industry. I do feel like sometimes they have been put in this position of elevated status to help maintain those relationships and to delegate some of the legwork to the second and third stew. So I actually, whereas I know that it's probably a pain in the butt for them to have to do all of that work, I actually think Hannah's kind of doing the right thing by delegating. So.
Yeah, I think so. There's no way that she would have been able to get all that stuff done if she had done it herself.
Well, exactly. Although we do see Bugsy get a little bit mad about that next week and confront Hannah, which is going to be interesting. But yeah, as far as the charter guest goes, this was one for the books for sure. Where do they find these people?
I don't know, and I want to know what they do. Did they say what they did?
He was a doctor.
Oh, okay.
I believe he was a doctor. I think they said that in the very beginning. But if I'm wrong, let me know, guys. So then we move on. So Malia gets a little bit challenged by Captain Sandy about being lead deckhand. First of all, there's the issue on the bow where Captain Sandy's not able to see her when they're dropping the anchor. She's not able to see the...
So was she doing something incorrectly, or was she just too short?
I don't think, I think I think she was doing what Captain Sandy asked her to do, but clearly, because they wear those walkie-talkie things all the time.
Yeah, why couldn't she, verbally say that?
Exactly. If she couldn't see Malia, that's Captain's responsibility to say, Malia, I can't see you. Like, I can't see. Somebody communicate to me what's going on. So if she's saying, and she was saying that, guys, what's going on down there? What's happening?
Yeah.
So if she's saying these kind of things where she's clearly, there's a disconnect or a miscommunication, I think that's Wes and Malia's job to pick up on and be like, got it, Cap. Like, sorry, you can't see me. We're at, then you give a verbal communication.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think in that regard, that's where Malia sort of fell short.
Yeah, it seemed like they weren't talking at all. So maybe when she said number one, she could have said it aloud.
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't know. I mean, maybe Wes could have teamed up with her and helped her out a little bit. I don't know how the whole thing works, but I do think that there would be ways around it if Captain Sandy wasn't getting what she was asking for. I do think that there were ways for them to step up and do that.
Yeah, in the live chat, Myrna Peters says that she wasn't communicating.
Yeah, she was not communicating at all, that's for sure. So so that was kind of her first strike, and that's when she ends up putting Bobby on bow and just says, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was you're too short thing, you weren't communicating thing, but I need to know what's going on. I need to know that I can see or talk to or hear from whoever's up there. Bobby, you're now on bow.
Which makes sense because it wasn't done properly.
Right. It wasn't done properly. And this is the first time that I really think we see Malia challenged, and Wes as well, challenged about the decision that he made. He kept telling everybody that this decision was his and Captain Sandy's, but it was really his decision alone that he made. She asked him to do that, make that decision. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's just so weird because of their relationship that even if Malia was deserving of the title, I don't really know who's the best, but it just makes it seem like she's not just because of their relationship. So I think even if he wanted to choose her, he should have said, well, I would choose Malia, but considering our relationship, I don't think I should choose her. So I would rather not choose anyone than choose her. Yep. Because right now it just makes her look bad. And it's not really fair to her either, because if she was the most deserving of the title, she can't prove that either. Yep.
We did talk about this a little bit last week, and I know that you were out, but Paulina and I did discuss is it Malia's responsibility to perhaps turn down the job if she doesn't think that it's not that she's the most qualified, but her actions have compromised the situation. Is it her responsibility to say thank you, no thank you, for when Wes tries to promote her? What do you think? I mean, it sounds like you're saying yes.
I didn't think of that option, but that would have been smarter. And then also I felt it was sad when she had to say, well, don't say this about me because I'm a woman, because I don't think it had anything to do with gender. It was just because she happened to be making out with her boss, and that's where the problems are.
Yeah. I mean, think about if anybody were making out with their boss, be it guy, girl, girl, guy, whatever, like, it compromises the relationship. It compromises the working relationship. And I just think that anytime your relationship like that is compromised, there's going to be favoritism. There's going to be it's just going to be hard. It's just going to be much harder. So we see Malia start to react a little bit more emotionally about her being challenged, by Captain Sandy, and then also by her fellow deckhands. I mean, they called her out last week about it. Max is clearly calling her out this week about her relationship with Adam and Wes. So, we start to see her get a little emotional about things, and then she has this blow up with Bobby on the bow where she's trying to give him an order or a suggestion or something.
And he either ignores her or just doesn't hear her. I don't know.
Well, I think he respectfully declined her suggestion, is what it seemed like. I think she was saying, Bobby, I don't know anything about boats or yachts or strings or ropes or anything, but it seemed to be that Bobby was handling the ropes in one way. Malia was like, no, that's fine, you can just move on and do the other one. He was like, no, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it this way because it's the right way to do it.
Right.
And Malia took that as an action of defiance against him. Did you see it as an action of defiance?
No, I think Bobby has more experience on yachts than she does. So
Absolutely.
I think that he thought it was the right move, and so he was just going with what he thought was right.
Yeah, he was doing literally what he's done a million times before, which is what he said. I've done this 1,000 times before. All I'm doing, whether you're lead deckhand or not, all I'm doing is what the captain asked me to do, which I think is the right thing to do.
I think so. I feel for him because I think he wasn't given a proper chance to impress Wes, because Wes always chose Malia for every shift that they would go together. So I think that's obviously why Malia was chosen. Another reason why she was chosen is because she got the chance to impress him. Yeah,
well, she did. And I do think that even Bobby's reaction to Malia becoming lead deckhand has been pretty respectable. I mean, he called Wes out and was like, look, dude, I think this is not cool. I think what you've done is not cool, but your decision is your decision, and we're still going to, stand by it and do our jobs. Even tonight when she said, we're going to walk in there and we're going to tell Captain Sandy to reverse this and, make you lead deckhand or whatever. And he was like, no, I don't want it out of sympathy. I don't want it. I want it because it's earned. And he's already made his decision. So therefore, I'm just moving forward, doing my job the best way that I know how. And I thought that was the right move to make. I think Malia was just getting caught up in this emotional state, and it makes her look juvenile.
Yeah, I think he's handling it well, definitely. And I think for her to call him out in that way, also publicly, I think a couple of people were watching, that was very unprofessional and also just immature. Yep,
she continues to make herself look less and less like a leader. The more she talks, the more she reacts, the less respect I have for her as a viewer, and I'm sure they have for her as a deckhand.
Yeah, and she is a leader at this point, so I think she could have handled that conversation better.
Yep. But hey, you live and you learn, right, Malia? So, speaking of living and learning, so we move on to the night out. The crew obviously needs a much-needed night out, so they all head out to go have drinks, and everybody's chumming up, and Wes is flirting with the bartender a little bit. Hannah's flirting with Adam.
What was with that? Why wasn't he flirting with Malia?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know I don't know. I mean, maybe the only thing that I could think of was that maybe Wes was kind of tired of getting shunned by the rest of his crew. Because he kind of turned the rest of the crew against him, when he picked Malia, and then when he kept defending her, and it kind of turned into the Wes and Malia show, and like Wes and Malia versus everybody else. And maybe he was like, look, I would just want to put that drama aside me. I just want to go out and have a good time with
That's definitely good perspective. That's probably true.
So I would imagine that he was trying to just go out, not get caught up in the drama, and just be like, oh, like
have fun.
Yeah, I just want to go out and have fun. And so he was being a little flirty with the waitress. Hannah and Adam got a little flirty, which I thought was really cute.
I think it was definitely nice that they're getting along, and they definitely have a good friendship. I think they'd be a cute couple too.
I do. I don't know. I mean, hey, it doesn't seem like Hannah's dating anybody, but of course they don't allude to a lot when we talk to them. So
who knows?
It's possible. Anything's possible. The one thing that I was really turned off by was Bugs and Malia's conversation about Hannah and Adam. I just thought that was really catty and kind of below.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think it was really Bugs' place to say, like, I don't know, why does she care?
Well, and that's the thing. Bugs' argument was like, okay, you guys have been like at odds this whole time, and now all of a sudden you're going to be besties. Well, No, they're not besties, but their relationship is being rekindled.
Right.
So
maybe she's jealous because she liked Adam. I mean, I don't think romantically, but they had a good relationship. So.
Well, and she kind of felt like she had him on her side as far as, you know, she already feels like she should be Chief Stew. She doesn't think that Hannah's doing a great job as Chief Stew. She's got Adam validating her in that remark, so maybe she was feeling a little bit slighted about that. But I thought it was nice. I really enjoyed seeing them together. Yeah, and then
it was funny too because I think they were trying to make Malia jealous, and on
For
purpose,
sure.
and it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where you
trying to make someone jealous? Not that I can think of. What about you?
Oh, come on, Jamie. There's got to be something.
I mean, you just gave me like 2 seconds to think about that one.
I know. I mean, I think it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
I think we all kind of, even if you know, Hannah said it best. She was like, I know Malia is like gunning for Adam's attention right now, and he's just not giving it to her. And that's the problem, I think, with this house of cards that Malia has built, is that she has soaked up all of this attention for so long, and now everybody's getting tired of her game. I was tired 2 minutes in, so I'm glad everybody's finally catching up, because I was really over it like second episode in, so we've had to watch.
Neither of the guys were paying attention to her tonight, and so I think she kind of realized that's what it felt like. But then she does shots and says, cheers to Malia! Cheers to Malia getting promoted. It's like, who says that? You don't say that for yourself.
Cheers to Malia being the lead deckhand. Cheers to Malia sleeping with the captain. Cheers to Malia sleeping with everybody on this boat. Blah, 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 blah. Now, it looked like everybody was laughing, so I think maybe it was made in jest. But
yeah, but still, it was annoying.
It was real annoying. I was not a fan of that moment. I just did not like that at all. I just didn't think it was classy. I didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, maybe she's trying to poke fun at the situation.
I guess so, but there's only so many times I need Malia to remind me that everybody wants to sleep with Malia on the boat. Because every episode somehow it comes up.
I know, it's definitely old at this point.
It really, really is. So I think it was a little bit good for Malia to get knocked off her high horse in this episode a little bit. I think she's kind of been riding high, and she's been treating people not so great. And I think it's been a little bit nice to see her peg knocked down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, not only is she treating people not very nicely, but it's causing so much drama on the boat that it's ruining the work ethic and ruining the work situation.
Well, we only have a couple of charters left. We're wrapping this whole thing up on August 8th, I believe, and so
sad.
I know it's coming to a close. We got a few more charters left, so we hope you will join us when we hop on the boat again and watch what happens on Below Deck Mediterranean. And then we're not sure if there's going to be a reunion show yet or not, but stay tuned. We'll let you know as soon as we find out. So, what did you see in the previews that you were most excited about?
I'm excited to see, this sounds bad, but I'm excited to see Adam show Wes the text. Not necessarily that I want it to happen, but I want to see what happens.
Yep.
I also want Wes to know about their previous relationship, because I don't think he has any idea. So I'm curious to see what he thinks.
I'm also very curious as to what texts Adam has, because they seem to keep showing the same text over and over and over again. But he says all the text messages are there. I mean, they keep going on and on and on. So I would be interested to see more than one text and what the context of those texts are. So maybe we'll get some of that dirt next week.
Yeah, I think so. And in the live chat, we have Myrna and Sky talking about Malia.
Hi, guys.
She's interesting, and they say, would we be saying the same thing if Malia was a guy?
Would we be saying the same thing if Malia was a guy?
Yes.
Is Wes still a guy, or is Wes a girl? No, I think I would. I mean, I think anybody who's a player, who plays people for attention, to get ahead, to get what they want, you know, it happens all the time. I don't think that the double standard is there just because she's a woman. I think that I would still feel the same way if it were a man. I would probably feel even worse.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd be like, he's a dog. Who's, get him off the boat or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, how about you? Do you feel like...
Yeah, I think gender isn't really relevant in the situation because in some ways I do kind of side with her because she's a female, but I realize she's treating them poorly. So that's what matters. It doesn't really matter that she's a female and they're male. And yes, you're right. If he was a male, it would yeah, it might even be worse because I would be like, he's such a jerk.
Right. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you've got men that are trying to give you your attention, or someone is trying to give you their attention, and you don't feel that way, or because she kept saying, I've done nothing wrong. I just told them both that I wanted to be friends. That's not true, because you led both of them on by kissing them, by texting them, by flirting with them. Whether you realize it or not, you've led them on. So maybe to the rest of the world or to the rest of your crew, it's almost like there's two sides to the card, because it seems like to the rest of the crew, she's saying, you know, when they're out in public and they're at work, it's like, hey, I just want to be friends. I just want to, you know, keep it cool. I don't want to choose anybody right now. I'm just here to have a good time and do my job. But behind closed doors, she's making out with Wes, and then she's making out with Adam, and then she's making out with Wes again, and then she's texting Adam, and then, you know, it just seems like, it seems a little two-faced.
Yeah, and I feel like if she's gonna do all that, that's okay, but how about own up to it instead of saying that you've done nothing wrong, because you know that you're leading them on. Because if it was week 1 or 2, maybe you don't realize how much they like you, but by now you realize it.
Right.
So, and you realize that you've caused a lot of drama, and they're very upset about it, so you should know now.
And to that point, though, her defense keeps being, she even said in this episode, her defense keeps being, if I want to go and sleep with every person on this boat, that's my prerogative. Well,
it's your prerogative until you're hurting everyone else's feelings.
Until you're hurting people.
Yes.
And then you have to take responsibility for what you are doing. And that's where I feel like she can't put those pieces together. So, and regardless of gender, I would feel the same way if there was a guy doing those actions to another person. Anytime people are getting hurt, whether it's intentional or not, you got to take a step back and look at the situation and be like, all right, what is my involvement in this? What is my contribution to this? How can I help? And she seems to over and over again play the victim card, which I have no patience for. Sorry.
Nicely said.
Yeah. Anyway, so we also see Bobby is going to get a little smoochy with one of the charter guests.
That is surprising, because remember last season, Danny got a little smoochy, and Bobby was so upset. So it's interesting to see him. I guess he has an opposite view on it this season.
I guess this season all bets are off, because everybody's making out with everybody. So we're making out with primary charter guests, we're making out with secondary charter guests, we're making out with crew, we're making out with bosses. I guess it's all just on the table now. So he's like, hey, I'm going to jump in the pool. Why not? The water's fine. I'm going to jump on in. So I think that's going to be really fun to see Bobby get a little bit of action next week. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the end of the season. I want to see Bobby have some romance too. So.
Yeah. So all fun things to look forward to, guys. We hope that you will continue to join us on our journey here at AfterBuzz. Again, I am Laura L. Thomas. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Laura L. Thomas TV. And Jamie, where can we find you?
You should tweet me at JamieBanks_. I'd love to hear what you thought of this episode. And also you can find me on YouTube at Jamie Banks Travel.
Sure can. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.